Hi, I'm Elisa Parker. We're broadcasting live here from the Wild and Scenic Film Festival in downtown Nevada City, California, in the Sierras, nonetheless. And Wild and Scenic brings together thousands of people to our little town, people who are making a difference for the planet and beyond. And I'm excited here to have Linda Booker with us. The film is called Straws. Linda is no stranger to Wild and Scenic. She's been here several times. You had an award-winning film last year, Linda. What was your film last year?
Actually, it was several years ago in 2014, and it was Bringing It Home, which is a film about industrial hemp.
That's right. Oh, that is an amazing film. You know, we talked about that, I think. Maybe, were you here last year as well?
I was on the jury
On the
here
jury.
And 2 years ago.
Bringing It Home, that was an extraordinary film. So now your other extraordinary film is called Straws. Tell us a little bit about Straws.
Well, Straws is just, it's a little film that could. It's a 30-minute film. It's really entertaining and a fun watch, but it really also goes to a very serious problem. And I really wanted to make a film that was very entertaining. We have some great lively animation in it that's narrated by Tim Robbins. And we take people on this journey about what one little tiny item, the plastic straw, how many of those are we using here in the United States? And when we know the average is 500 million a day.
500 million straws a day.
In the U.S. only. So think about worldwide. Now, most of those straws are ending up in the garbage. What happens?
Well, they're probably all ending up in the ocean.
Well,
500 million straws a day?
So what we know is they're either ending up in landfills, or they're going to the streets, they're washing into rivers, or they're going, and that, as we know, could actually end up on the beach, plus beach litter as well.
Right. So, Linda, what was your motivation behind telling this story? And it is true, like I've been saying earlier, there's nothing insignificant. You know, like even the smallest animal,
That's
even
right.
something like a straw, like it is everything. It's all connected, and it plays such a large role in just our overall well-being. And you don't think about that. 500 million people using this straw every day.
Yeah.
And the impact of that.
The average is that 1.6 straws per person per day. So between the ages of 5 and 35, we're going 65. We're going through like 38,000 straws. That's if you're using them. Some people use more than others. I think what it is that tiny object that we don't think about. How much does this really add up? And I think once people kind of grasp it and understand, this is only maybe one piece of trash, but then that trash is adding to the 8.5 billion metric tons of plastic trash that's ending up in our oceans right now. And we know that that's harming marine life.
Right.
And we know that that's breaking down. It's getting down to the micro level at this point. We know it's in our drinking water. So this all seems very overwhelming. What can we do? And I think this film is an action film. It's a call to action.
What are some of the actions that you're calling forward and what we can do? Obviously, don't use plastic straws, but but there's also key parts because, you know, when you look at the fast food industry, for example, so what are some of the things around that and the pressures?
So I think the thing about this film is that it lets people know that they can do something on a very individual level immediately. You can go to a restaurant and say to the waitress, please, no straws. Then if you want to take it up to another level, you could ask the restaurant owner. And now we see a movement that has gone global in the last 2 years that is incredible. I had no idea when I started this film in the spring of 2015 that it would be where it is right now, this topic. It's been amazing and very inspiring. It gives me hope because worldwide we're seeing school children or normal citizens going to their town councils, and now we have these citywide movements to ban plastic straws. And of course that does go to the other fast food ware that we know is so prolific in our garbage cans and in our environment.
Right. What are some of the alternatives for people? I mean, I know just, at my home use, I have metal straws.
Yeah.
But what are some of the recommendations then for like the fast food industry or the restaurant business?
Right. Well, one of the things we do talk about is that we're not anti-straw. We know that some people, they might be handicapped or they might be elderly or little children might need one. What we talk about is we just really are anti-plastic straws.
Right.
So it is the material that they're made of. And we really offer the solution of what are the sustainable alternatives. You could use a steel straw, which I had one here, Mr.
I
Rudolph.
did too. I had one too. Oh, that's what it was. Oh, here
And
it is.
there's paper straws.
This is, yep, I have some
Yeah,
like
there you
this
go.
too.
There's paper straws. There's bamboo straws, glass straws. There's like all these really beautiful, alternatives that I think probably around here people are pretty savvy about this. But what I find is like some of my favorite festivals have been like in the middle of the country. And maybe they've heard about it, but now it's like the light bulb goes off, and so it's not just about the straw. It really is about, well, what else am I using?
Right.
One time, maybe for 30 seconds, maybe for a couple of minutes, but what happens to that object? We've seen a lot of fantastic documentaries that cover this, but I think sometimes when you give people too much, they get a little overwhelmed.
Right.
And so I think that's why this little thing.
Just one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, because I admit, like in using plastic straws, I was like, you know what? Okay, enough's enough. Enough's enough. And I just went online and I bought my metal straws. I wash them in my dishwasher. They're very easy to use. And, and now the next step is when I do go out, right? When you go out to the restaurant or fast food, either declining it or providing alternatives or bringing your own.
Right. And so really we talk about the straw is really just the tip of the iceberg. It's just that one item that starts a conversation.
And it's the awareness. Yeah,
That's right.
That's true. So, Linda, last question is, our theme is groundswell this year, right? So the emergence and the convergence and coming together and the rise up. What does groundswell mean for you, like on a personal level, like especially in this last year?
Oh, well, I mean, I think there's just been a tremendous groundswell of consciousness around plastic litter and particularly our marine debris. I started a Google alert on plastic straws and litter 2.5 years ago, and I would get maybe one story a week, and now my inbox is full of like 8 to 10, not just about people on the local level, but now the UN Environmental Assembly. This was one of their biggest topics in Nairobi a couple weeks ago. So we have all these amazing groups like the Plastic Pollution Coalition, Ocean Conservancy, all kinds of Surfrider, like all these groups. There's so many, I can't mention them all, of course. But this has really become a talking point. We have politicians talking about plastic straws. It's amazing. Scotland is actually thinking about banning plastic straws.
Wow.
We have counties here and cities here in California, Malibu, Manhattan Beach, Santa Cruz, all enacting and passing policy around this.
It's a starting point for sure. Okay, straws, when is it screening?
It is screening tonight at 7 o'clock at the Nevada Theater. And I do want to apologize for my voice because I have a cold and I know I don't normally sound like
all
this.
going around, Linda. I hope you feel better soon.
Thank
We
you.
told her to save her voice because she has a screening tonight. By the way, the other great thing about the filmmakers coming to the Film Fest is they answer questions. They give you insight to the behind the scenes and the stories behind the making of the film. So it's really a great thing. If you haven't come on down yet, come on down to Wild and Scenic and really understand firsthand how amazing this festival really is. So I'm Elisa Parker. Thank you, Linda. The Film
you.
Straws. It's Wild and Scenic Film Fest, and we'll be right